The town of Belbridge was an embodiment of suburban tranquility. Neatly manicured lawns and pristine sidewalks whispered tales of peaceful living. Nestled in the heart of this idyllic town arose the crystal-clean car wash, modern, gleaming, and promising a shine that defied the ordinary. But beneath this veneer of normalcy lurked an unsettling silence. Its golden rays seemed to refract with an almost imperceptible crimson tinge. Alex Morgan, a journalist with a thirst for truth, felt the town's pulse like a second skin. Her eyes, sharp and perceptive, missed nothing. Behind her gentle demeanor and disarming smile lay a mind that thrived on unraveling mysteries, a spirit that gravitated toward the shadows where truth often hid. Alex had an uncanny knack for sensing when things were amiss, a sixth sense that whispered warnings in the stillness of her thoughts. The car wash, with its sudden popularity and gleaming facade, piqued her curiosity. There was something about the excessive gleam, the overly enthusiastic smiles of the patrons, that set her senses on high alert.
Something's not right, Alex. It's too perfect, you know? Like a freshly painted dollhouse hiding something rotten underneath.
Alex trusted Jake's instincts as much as her own. They were two sides of the same coin, she with her hunger for truth, and he with his grounded pragmatism. Together, they formed a formidable duo, their friendship forged in countless late-night stakeouts and shared cups of coffee over intriguing headlines. Evelyn Carter, the proprietor of the Crystal Clean Car Wash, was an enigma wrapped in silk and shadowed smiles. She had arrived in Belbridge like a whisper, her past shrouded in mystery. Her beauty was undeniable, a cascade of raven hair, piercing blue eyes that seemed to hold ancient secrets. The townsfolk, charmed by her elegance, welcomed her with open arms. But Alex noticed the way Evelyn's gaze lingered, her fingers tightening around the silver ankh pendant. There was an air of calculated serenity about her, hinting at something darker. And then there were the whispers, rumors of strange occurrences at the car wash after dark. The grand opening of the Crystal Clean Car Wash was nothing short of a spectacle. Balloons in a kaleidoscope of colors danced in the gentle breeze. The aroma of freshly grilled hot dogs hung heavy in the air. Evelyn, resplendent in a white pantsuit, moved through the crowd with practiced grace. She was a master puppeteer, manipulating the townsfolk with her charm. The car wash's entrance, framed by cascading water and pulsating neon lights, seemed like the gaping maw of some unknown beast. Mr. Johnson, known for his meticulous nature and fondness for his vintage Buick, was the fifth person in line. His smile, usually as polished as his car's hood, seemed strained, his gaze darting nervously towards the car wash's entrance. With a resigned sigh, he drove his prized Buick into the belly of the beast. The car wash hummed with an almost hypnotic rhythm, the air thick with the scent of chemicals and cherry blossoms. The Buick disappeared into the swirling white foam, the neon lights casting eerie shadows on the walls. The car wash continued its relentless cycle, but the Buick remained trapped within its depths. Then, with a suddenness that made everyone jump, the car wash sputtered, its lights flickering before plunging the area into darkness. The lights flickered back on, casting long, distorted shadows that danced menacingly. Slowly, the Buick emerged from the tunnel, its exterior streaked with grime. Alex felt a chill. The Buick was empty. The festive atmosphere evaporated, replaced by an icy dread. The crowd, eyes wide with fear, began to murmur. The police were called, their arrival doing little to quell the rising tide of fear. Officers questioned the crowd, but their inquiries were met with shrugs and shaking heads. No one had seen Mr. Johnson exit the car wash. No one could explain his sudden disappearance. The car wash, once a symbol of progress, now loomed over the town like a menacing specter. Alex, watching the chaos, felt a surge of adrenaline. Her instincts screamed that this was no ordinary disappearance. Mr. Johnson's vanishing act was a message, a chilling prelude to horror. The insistent ringing of the newsroom phone cut through the haze of cigarette smoke and stale coffee. Alex, hunched over her desk, glanced up, annoyance flickering across her face. "Morgan speaking," she answered, her tone clipped. But the voice on the other end, raspy and laced with fear, stopped her cold. "It's the car wash," the voice whispered. Alex sat up straight, her annoyance replaced by a surge of adrenaline. But the line went dead, leaving her staring at the receiver, a cold knot of dread forming in her stomach. She hung up the phone, her mind racing. Bellbridge, bathed in late afternoon sunshine, seemed oblivious to the storm brewing in Alex's mind. The idyllic facade felt different now, the houses taking on a sinister quality. Jake, leaning against his Mustang, watched as Alex pulled up in her beat-up sedan. He knew that look determination mixed with fear.
"Get anything interesting?" he asked, masking his concern.
He knew Alex wouldn't rest until she got to the bottom of this. Alex recounted the cryptic phone call, fear palpable. Something about the car wash, about Evelyn Carter's facade, stank to high heaven.
"So, what's the plan, partner?" Jake asked.
He sighed, flicking his cigarette to the ground. He wasn't going to let her face the darkness alone. Evelyn Carter's office, perched high above the car wash floor, offered a panoramic view of the seemingly idyllic town. The afternoon sun streamed through the expansive windows, casting the tastefully decorated office in a warm, inviting glow. Evelyn, as always, was the epitome of elegance, her blonde hair perfectly coiffed, her makeup flawless.
"Ms. Morgan, it's a pleasure to finally meet you," Evelyn said, her voice smooth as silk.
Her words, though pleasant, held an underlying chill that sent a shiver down Alex's spine. The interview, a dance of half-truths and veiled threats, left Alex feeling unsettled. Evelyn Carter was a master manipulator, her facade of concern impenetrable. As Alex and Jake left, the scent of cherry blossoms made Alex's stomach churn. The setting sun cast long, distorted shadows across the car wash.
I could smell it on her, the scent of lies and something darker.
She knew Evelyn Carter was hiding something far more sinister. Nightfall descended upon Bellbridge, cloaking the town in an unsettling stillness. The streetlights flickered to life, casting long, distorted shadows across the deserted streets. Alex and Jake, concealed in the shadows, watched the car wash with apprehension. They ventured into the car wash, armed with a flashlight and determination. The lock clicked open with a soft thud, breaking the silence. The car wash felt cold and oppressive, amplifying every creak and groan. The security office, tucked away at the back of the building, was small and cluttered, the air thick with the smell of stale coffee and fear. A lone computer monitor, its screen dark, sat atop a desk littered with invoices and crumpled fast food wrappers. Alex, her heart pounding, flicked on the flashlight, illuminating grimy walls adorned with faded posters. Jake stood by a shelf crammed with dusty VHS tapes. Bingo. Alex bypassed the rudimentary security system. The computer hummed to life, displaying a grainy image of the car wash's interior. She scrolled through hours of footage, her anxiety growing. The car wash seemed even more sinister, the shadows deeper. And then Alex saw it, a shadow coalescing out of the swirling water and soap suds. She rewound the tape, her finger hovering over the play button. Taking a deep breath, she pressed play. The footage, now in slow motion, revealed the horrifying truth. The shadow elongated, stretched towards the car. It enveloped the car and then silence. The shadow vanished. A cold draft sent a shiver down Alex's spine. Her flashlight revealed a crudely carved symbol on the ceiling. It was the same symbol from Evelyn Carter's pendant.
"There's something down here,"
Jake said, his voice tight with apprehension. He pointed to a shimmering section of the wall. Jake pushed, revealing a narrow staircase. It led down into darkness. The air grew heavy with a musty odor. The staircase descended into a cavernous chamber. Flickering torches cast dancing shadows. Ancient symbols adorned the walls. A stone altar stood in the center, stained dark brown. Alex, her heart pounding, approached the altar, her flashlight illuminating intricate carvings. The symbols seemed to writhe under the beam as if alive. She traced a symbol resembling a stylized eye, its pupil a dark void. Jake's grip tightened, his knuckles white with tension. Jake shouted, his voice raw with terror. He lunged, pulling her away as a guttural growl rose from the earth. Torches flickered violently, their flames turning green before dying out, plunging the chamber into darkness. A swirling vortex of shadows and light formed, its center a dark void. An ancient voice boomed, filled with unimaginable power. The ritual has begun. The voice, a reverberating echo of something ancient and monstrous, seemed to cling to the very walls of the chamber. She gripped Jake's hand tighter, her heart pounding against her ribs like a frantic bird. The air, heavy and oppressive, crackled with an unseen energy.
"We need to get out of here,"
Jake whispered, his voice strained, his usual composure shaken. He pulled Alex towards the staircase, his hand gripping hers like a vice. As they ascended the narrow staircase, the echoes of the voice seemed to follow them. Evelyn Carter. She's behind this. All of it. As they made their way through the labyrinthine corridors, the silence was broken by the distinct click of heels. Alex and Jake froze, their hearts pounding. A figure emerged from the shadows. Evelyn Carter, her lips curved into a chilling smile, stood before them.
"Evelyn, we know about the chamber, about the ritual."
Evelyn's smile widened, revealing unnaturally sharp teeth.
Ah, yes. The ritual, the cleansing, a small price to pay for true power.
The mask of composure had shattered, revealing the true face of Evelyn Carter. "Get her!" Evelyn shrieked, her voice a guttural rasp that sent a shiver down Alex's spine. Two figures emerged from the darkness behind Evelyn, their movements swift and predatory. They lunged towards Alex and Jake, their hands outstretched. Alex ducked under a wild swing, her fist connecting with the jaw of one of the attendants. Jake slammed his shoulder into the chest of the other attendant. Alex caught a glimpse of the fire extinguisher mounted on the wall. She swung the extinguisher, connecting with the attendant's head. Jake shouted, pulling Alex towards a side door. They sprinted down a narrow corridor, the sounds of their pursuers' heavy footsteps echoing behind them. The door burst open, revealing the cool night air and the promise of freedom. The cool night air hit Alex's lungs like a blast of ice. She gasped for breath, her legs burning, her chest tight with fear. Behind them, the car wash loomed, its neon lights a garish mockery.
"We need to get help. Warn the police, they won't believe us."
They ran through the deserted streets, their footsteps echoing. As they rounded a corner, a pair of headlights cut through the darkness. The car, a sleek black sedan, rolled towards them. The rear passenger door swung open, revealing Evelyn Carter. Dawn painted the sky in hues of gray and purple, a somber backdrop to the impending battle. Alex and Jake sought refuge in Jake's garage, the familiar scent of motor oil and grease a small comfort in the face of encroaching darkness.
"There has to be a way to stop it." Jake, his usual jovial demeanor replaced by a grim determination, surveyed his arsenal of tools, wrenches, blowtorches, cans of gasoline, each one a potential weapon in their desperate fight against the unknown. He tossed Alex a roll of duct tape, his gaze meeting hers with a silent understanding. Evelyn's obsessed with the car wash. She said it's the conduit, the key to the ritual. We have to bring it down. They worked with a frantic energy, their movements honed by years of shared projects and unspoken understanding. Each clang of a wrench, each hiss of the blowtorch was a testament to their resolve, a symphony of defiance against the encroaching darkness.
The thought of destroying the very structure that had become synonymous with terror in Bellbridge sent a shiver down Alex's spine, but the alternative was unbearable. The sun, a fiery orb peeking over the horizon, cast long, menacing shadows as Alex and Jake returned to the car wash. The building, usually gleaming with artificial cheer, stood silent and ominous under the pale light of dawn. Armed with their makeshift arsenal gasoline-soaked rags, propane tanks rigged to explode, they breached the car wash's defenses. The back door, once jimmied open with practiced ease, now hung open like a broken jaw. They moved like shadows, their footsteps muffled by the grime-coated floor. The hidden door leading to the ritual chamber gaped open, a black maw inviting them back into the belly of the beast. Evelyn Carter, consumed by her lust for power, craved an audience, a testament to her twisted ambition. This wasn't just about unleashing an ancient evil. It was about proving her dominance, about breaking those who dared to defy her. S1. She's expecting us. She wants us to stop her. The ritual chamber, illuminated by flickering torches and a pulsating, ethereal glow emanating from the center of the room, was a scene of chaotic energy. Evelyn Carter, clad in flowing white robes that seemed to shimmer with an internal light, stood before the stone altar, her arms outstretched, her voice a high-pitched chant that reverberated through the chamber. Strange symbols, etched into the floor with a dark, viscous liquid, pulsed with an eerie light. Two figures, their bodies contorted at unnatural angles, their eyes glowing with an eerie internal light, stood guard beside Evelyn.
"You're too late. The ritual has begun. There's no stopping it."
The air shimmered, the ethereal glow intensifying, coalescing into a swirling vortex of shadows and light. From the heart of the vortex, a shape began to emerge, a monstrous silhouette that dwarfed the flickering torches. Fear, primal and all-consuming, threatened to overwhelm Alex, but a fierce determination rose within her, pushing back the terror, fueling her resolve. She had come too far, seen too much to let this abomination win. The temperature in the chamber plummeted, a bone-chilling cold that seeped into Alex's very marrow. Alex shouted, her voice barely audible above the roar of the encroaching entity and the blood pounding in her ears. The propane tank, strategically placed near the chamber's entrance, erupted in a deafening roar, flames licking at the ancient stone walls. Alex and Jake, their bodies pressed against the cold, damp stone, watched as the explosion ripped through the chamber, momentarily holding the monstrous entity at bay. Evelyn, her concentration broken, her triumphant chant dissolving into a shriek of rage, turned towards them, her eyes blazing with fury. S1, Jake, now.
"You think you can stop me? I am the conduit. I am the vessel."
She raised her hands, the air around her crackling with energy, the symbols on the floor pulsating in sync with her rage. The monstrous entity, momentarily held at bay by the explosion, surged forward, its form solidifying, its outlines becoming clearer, more terrifying with each passing moment.
It's now or never.
They were outmatched, outgunned, but they had one advantage. Evelyn's blind ambition, her unwavering belief in her own invincibility. The monstrous entity, a grotesque parody of human form, towered over them, its eyes burning pits of malevolent energy, fixated on Evelyn. Jake yelled, his voice barely audible above the roar of the inferno and the creature's guttural growls. Alex, her heart pounding against her ribs like a drumbeat of doom, knew what she had to do. She met Evelyn's gaze, the car wash owner's face a mask of fury and fear, her control over the ritual slipping with every passing second. "Alex Morgan, you crave power, but you have no idea what you've unleashed." She tossed a crumpled photograph towards Evelyn, a picture of the car wash owner, her smile genuine, her eyes free from the consuming darkness that now held her captive. A flicker of something akin to regret crossed Evelyn's face before she crushed the photograph in her hand. The monstrous entity, its attention momentarily diverted by the flicker of doubt in Evelyn's eyes, turned its burning gaze towards Alex. The creature's attention, however fleeting, was all Jake needed. S1. Distract it.
Back to hell with you.
Jake roared, his voice raw with defiance. He hurled the propane tank towards the base of the swirling vortex, his throw a perfect arc honed by years of backyard football games. The propane tank, propelled by a desperate hope and a prayer, sailed through the air, landing with a sickening thud at the base of the vortex. Alex didn't hesitate. She slammed the igniter button on the makeshift detonator in her hand. The explosion, a deafening roar of fire and fury, ripped through the chamber, engulfing the monstrous entity in a blinding inferno. The force of the blast threw Alex and Jake back against the wall, the air filled with dust, smoke, and the acrid smell of burning stone and gasoline. For a moment, there was only silence, broken only by the crackle of flames and the groan of the car wash groaning above them. The shadows, no longer controlled, thrashed wildly, their forms flickering and fading as the flames consumed them. And then, as quickly as it had begun, it was over. The shadows receded, the flames died down, leaving behind a smoldering ruin and an eerie silence. Alex coughed, her lungs burning, her vision blurred by smoke and exhaustion. She pushed herself up on her elbows, her gaze scanning the wreckage for any sign of movement. Beside her, Jake groaned, his eyes slowly fluttering open, his gaze unfocused as he fought to regain his bearings. The monstrous entity was gone, its essence consumed by the flames, its connection to the earthly realm severed. The symbols etched into the floor, once pulsating with an eerie light, were now nothing more than charred lines, their power neutralized. The air, though still heavy with the stench of decay, felt cleaner, lighter, as if a great weight had been lifted from the very fabric of the world. But the victory, if it could be called that, felt hollow. The chamber, a testament to Evelyn Carter's twisted ambition, was a smoldering ruin. The two car wash attendants, their minds and bodies ravaged by the ancient evil, lay unmoving on the floor, their faces frozen in masks of eternal torment. Alex stared down at Evelyn, a strange mixture of pity and anger welling up inside of her, a confusing cocktail of emotions she couldn't quite process. The crystal-clean car wash, its gleaming facade blackened by fire, stood as a stark reminder of the battle that had raged within its depths. Once a symbol of modern convenience, it was now a condemned eyesore, a silent testament to hidden dangers. Townsfolk whispered tales of bravery and miraculous escapes, their words a balm on the wounds left by the horrors. The car wash, once a source of pride, was now a forbidden zone, its name a whisper of warning. Alex, her fingers dancing across the keyboard, struggled to find the words to encapsulate that night. The truth was far stranger, far more terrifying than anything she could convey. Some stories, she realized, were not meant to be told in full. Some truths were better left buried, whispered about in hushed tones. She settled for a simpler narrative, a fire, a tragic accident, a community coming together to rebuild. And as she typed the final words, a single sentence echoed in her mind. When the soap covers your car, the real horror begins.